What was the biggest misconception or surprise about the honours program?
I think it was just the personal growth element. Like you think you're there just doing a thesis and that's it. And you're going to get this tangible product at the end. But actually it's the connection with the project, the connection with the supervisors, the connection with the patient families, and the growth that comes out of that.
Hello and welcome to the Honestly Honors podcast, a show where we discuss and demystify the MDHS Honours program. I'm Ryan Johansson, the Honours Coordinator for MDHS, and in this series we will cover everything from what exactly Honours is, the application process, where it might take you, and how to be successful in the program. Today we're going to talk in depth about what the Honours program is, what it actually involves day to day, and why you should do it. Today, I'm lucky to be joined by three fantastic former honours students. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First of all, thank you so much for coming out today to join the podcast. I'd like you to introduce yourself just with your first name and tell me what project you did during your honours year. We'll start with you, Freddie.
Hey guys, I'm Freddie. My project was on osteoarthritis in mice and humans, and I was at the Royal Melbourne Hospital as part of the Department of Medicine.
Fantastic.
Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer, and I did a honors project in the learning and teaching team at the Department of Anatomy and Physiology, and my project was looking at why biomedical science students were using Gen AI in their studies.
Excellent.
Thanks for having me on, Ryan. I'm Danielle. Mine was a little different to the others. Mine was a clinical project at the Royal Children's Hospital, specifically MCRI, the Murdoch Institute. And we looked at the psychosocial well-being of parents with children who had a chronic illness.
Oh, fantastic. So you've got three quite different honours projects all within the program. So basically honours is a year of research after your bachelor's degree. But I think there can be a bit of a misconception or sort of questions about what you actually do during your honours year, because it is really quite different from an undergraduate degree. So I'd like to talk about a little bit, so what did you think you were getting into at the start of honours? And yeah, we'll start there. What did you think honours was? Open floor.
I'm happy to.
Yeah,
go.
Danielle, thanks.
Always. So for me, there was a lot of ambiguity. I had no idea what I was in for. I had no idea if it was a good idea, no idea if it was a bad idea, or somewhere in between. But all I knew was that the chemistry with myself and my two supervisors seemed to work quite well. And I thought potentially it may be also almost like a backstage entrance into the hospital. I had no idea what I wanted to do, but I knew it was definitely in the health profession. So whether it be allied health, medicine, or, somewhere in that realm, I knew that I wanted to have experience in a hospital. And so it was just a fantastic opportunity to look at that. I'm also a parent myself, so looking at the parent side of things was also advantageous. I felt like I could connect with parents. So I don't think anyone knows what to expect with anything, but sometimes the ambiguity is fun, and I guess maybe you learn the most when you don't know what's to expect.
Yeah, it's kind of like a clear road ahead, right? But I'm seeing a thing there of you kind of knew where you might want to go, but there was a little bit of interest being a parent yourself and leaning into that ambiguity. Freddie, Jennifer, how about yourselves? What did you think honours was before you jumped in?
I feel like there was a lot of fear-mongering before entering honors because it's such a chaotic and intensive year where, you're working on one research project with a supervisor or even more, one or more supervisors. It's nothing like undergrad where you're just sort of going to lectures and finishing your homework. You're actually quite involved. It's almost like a actual job. But much like Danielle, there was a lot of ambiguity going into it. But I sort of chose it because I was quite interested in the project. I sort of just created my own project and proposed it to a supervisor, and that seemed to work quite well. So that was cool.
That's fantastic. Look at that, creating a project. Go you. Freddie.
Very nice. Yeah, I guess I just came out of the Bachelor of Biomedicine, so I did 3 years here already.
Yep.
And in that time, a lot of lectures, a lot of classes, but I never actually did any subjects doing any research work. So there's a lot of research placement subjects that a lot of people get the opportunity to go ahead and do a lab and doing a bit of it. So I did want to get a little bit of a taster. So I knew honours year, that 1 year was very valuable, and it's only a short time. So if you end up not liking it or you want to pursue something else, there's no worrying about, I need to continue on this path forever. So I knew that was the good opportunity for me. And I guess going into it, I didn't know what to expect or what I was going to be doing because my major was in physiology, and I was lucky enough to get kind of an immunology kind of aspect of my project. So it was completely different to anything I'd done before. I'd learned a little bit through my core subjects, but I really had no idea what I was expecting. So that was a good opportunity to learn something completely different.
I like that approach, ambiguity taster. Quick follow-up question then for everyone. There's a bit of ambiguity around it. What made you want to lean into that? Or what kind of pushed you sort of over that threshold of, I'm not sure what I'm doing, but I'm leaning into it?
Well, it's learning a new skill. So research and like Jen really well articulated, it's like a job. You're required to be there 9 to 5, within reason. And obviously it's going to look different for every project, whether it be a lab-based project or a clinical project where you're running interviews. So really, you really have to adhere to a certain expectation, not only with respect to your supervisor's expectation, but also the university coursework as well, because there is quite a bit of coursework that you have to manage. And then your expectation within yourself. So what am I doing here? It's that self-actualization component of, that Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Am I, because you've got a lot of time too. It's self-directed. So it's kind of like a compressed PhD, but with PhD, you've got, 3 years plus to complete it. Honours is like lightning fast. You effectively have 10 months to do that. You're running your own project like Jen and Freddie said. And so there's all these moving parts and you really have to try and manage all these components. And it's the skill of research. It's the skill of, telling your supervisors how you're going with the coursework. Uni Mel want me to hand in A, B, and C by this date. And I know you want me to have X done by then. Realistically, this is how I'm tracking. So you're having yourself in check and managing expectations of, a few different people. So, it's all these newfound skills, Ryan.
Skills and the challenge.
Yeah.
Freddie, how about yourself there? What sort of made you lean? You seem to have more of a concrete idea. I know that obviously changes as we go through life. What made you lean into that ambiguity a little bit more?
Yeah, I guess I always knew I wanted to do a little bit of research before I went on to whatever postgrad study I wanted to do, which I still don't really have an idea. But I knew, research under the belt, having a bit of that behind the scenes idea of what goes on in the research world. I think I knew anywhere in that I really was interested in. So I wasn't too keen on I want to do physiology or this, that. I kind of applied to a lot of the different labs and fields. I guess that was... I think so. Just 1 year of doing that, I didn't think to myself, I need a bit more time, or this is too long. I just thought this is probably the perfect amount of time. So I took that opportunity.
Yeah.
I like how Freddie said that actually, because with health, a lot of it does revolve around research. So it's such a good opportunity to dive into the skill of research, because whether you pursue medicine or allied health or research, they're all very important skills to know.
Exactly, yeah. And there's so much behind the scenes that we, as in the front line, you don't have no idea.
You don't get to know the experience.
What sort of things, Jennifer, did you see behind the scenes that you weren't aware of as an undergrad?
I guess, so my supervisor was one of my lecturer in undergrad.
Nice.
And sort of just how busy she is with her day-to-day work, and how much effort and energy and time they pour into academia. Were something that I, as a student, weren't wasn't quite aware of, but I was, sort of impressed and inspired to see their work ethics, and also just the amount of admin work to, tailor the perfect course for their student was something that was very eye-opening.
The unsung heroes of admin and academia, eh? Yeah, so it's a lot there. Thank you for that. It is a big change. It's almost not a quantum leap, but it's a big change from undergrad to an honours year and that pathway into research. And I think it's fabulous you took that opportunity to lean into something new. I was wondering if we could talk a little bit more about what you kind of did day to day. So what was your day-to-day life like? Freddie, should we start with you? What did you do day to day in general?
Yeah, so every day I would go into the Royal Melbourne Hospital, a very quiet part of the hospital. So it was kind of in the clinical science building. It's a very old building. I'm not sure when, but it was from a very, very long time ago. Everything's kind of run down. We had a little office and we had a little lab. So it wasn't like one of those fancy new ones where everything is open and you have 30 plus people in a team. We had maybe 3 in my lab, and we kind of shared a lab with maybe 10 people max. So you'd see maybe 10 people in total in a day, all doing our different things. So I might be doing some work in the lab in the morning, and then I'd talk to my supervisor. I had a very good close relationship with him, so we did a lot of things together throughout the day. And then I'd maybe go to the animal facility across the road, closer to uni, do a little bit of mice work there, and come back and just maybe analyze the data I got from that, and then a bit of writing here and there, but I did most of my writing end of the year. So I left it pretty late. But that was me, doing a lot of the practical work every day.
Don't do that.
Were you stressed leaving it so late?
I guess so, but I was very used to it because that's how I did all my undergrad assessments.
Were you pulling all-nighters?
Yes, near the end, a couple. Just
had to ask.
Yeah. I always managed to get a little bit of sleep, but it was always at 6 a.m. sleep.
Oh,
so it's like only the last few weeks. It wasn't
oh my God, that's just stressed me out.
Flashbacks over there. It's the importance though of scheduling and maybe would you sort of go back now to say a year ago, Freddie, like, hey, let's start a bit earlier?
I think I always knew I needed to schedule it better, especially coming out of undergrad where I always left things to literally the last minute. Like I would submit assessments 11:58, 11:59. And to me, it was like, not too stressful because I know I will submit it. Like, it's fine. My internet doesn't, crash out that bad. So,
did you have any students in your team, like PhD or honours students?
So, in my small lab, it was my supervisor, myself, and a fellow master's student. So, only 3 of us.
Right.
But right next to us, so sharing the same office space, we had one other lab with one other honours student, 2 masters, and 3 PhDs.
So it makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah. You see everyone working together.
Yeah.
That's good. You get a good mix of students and, chatting with them as you're going along and sort of picking up things, not just your supervisor, there's a team around you.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Jennifer, what was your day-to-day like?
I think one thing to keep in mind is that MDHS Honours is such a big umbrella, and underneath it has so many different departments and teams, and everyone's life and what they do in honors will look so different. So with mine, I'm in a team with sort of just me and my supervisors, and I would just go into office whenever I want to. Usually around lunchtime.
Nice. The truth is out.
Around lunchtime, and I'll start working, start writing, researching, reading articles, journals, blah, 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 replying to emails. And I'll sort of leave the Met building quite late, around 9 to 10 p.m. because honors is all about self-directed learning. No one's pushing you to do whatever. And me being, a sort of independent person, I liked managing my own hours, and
so it was pretty flexible then for you to work to where you.
My supervisor didn't set any expectations on when I should go to the office, and my office was with 7 other learning and teaching honor students. Wow. But we were all just working on different projects. Sometimes we'll have fun, but most of the time we're just working in isolation.
Where's
or
the
independently. Let's put it that way. Independent.
Not in like a little burst.
Not-
Like, Jenny,
not
get in
isolation.
your box.
Independently.
Keep talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I was actively promoting my project, I would go in class into lectures, workshops, practicals, and sort of just sell out my projects to students so that they would fill out my survey.
So you had a lot of student contacts.
There was a lot of
during-
student involvement, student interaction.
Mm.
Yeah, and I built a lot of close connection with students to understand their learning experiences with Gen AI at the University of Melbourne. So that was pretty cool.
Oh, so yours was a clinical one too. Is that fair to say?
It's more of a subtle research. So it's more about, I guess, educational psychology.
Right.
But I majored in physiology, and my lecturer, Angelina Fon, is really big into educational psychology, and that's why we clicked so well and worked so well together.
So were they open up? Sorry, Ryan. I'm
No,
just
go
like,
for
I'm
it.
just so
Get in there.
I'm just so intrigued. So was it like open-ended questions, or were there a series of questions that you had to ask the students?
So because there's no one in the field has studied why biomedical students, science students use Gen AI. So I sort of have to develop a series of surveys, different items, Likert scale, from strongly disagree to strongly agree. And obviously there's other open-ended survey responses asking, the positive experiences, the negative experiences, and what they wish the uni would have provided. So gathering a more holistic experience on why or why not students use Gen AI.
And really on the cutting edge by the sound of it. You said, it's not really been done before. So you're right on the cutting
So
edge of a new
progressive.
technology. That's amazing.
But I guess it all sounds great, but just trying to keep it realistic that, when you're doing things that haven't been done before, a big, I guess, obstacle was it was really hard to find articles or journals that you could rely on, and you're sort of just sort of in this dark room and trying to navigate a path out. It was extremely challenging but also very rewarding.
Excellent. Thank you. Danielle, your day today.
Yeah.
Did you get to
geez.
start at 11 as well?
No, that's a facetious comment because I'm a parent and so are you. So mine was quite different. I failed to mention that my research team is surgical research. So my secondary supervisor is a surgeon. And so my first day on the job was in the operating theatre. So yeah,
Wow.
yeah, I know. It was just what a privilege, what an absolute privilege. So I think I scrubbed into about 3 different surgeries on my first week, which really
Sorry, I have to say, had you ever been in the theatre before?
never,
Wow. Okay.
never been into surgery before, and didn't know what to expect and didn't know how to feel about it. So I don't even know if I slept the night before. Because also, like they're children and
Would
they're
it be
sick
quite close to
children.
home?
Yeah, very close to home. And you have to reconcile all these feelings and emotions. But I guess the best thing about it was it gave me that insight into the project. It was really an end-to-end experience. So luckily, and that's why I mentioned about the chemistry with you and your supervisor. You have to choose someone who you feel you will be able to work with. So my supervisors were very altruistic, very giving, and I could see that from the outset. Just in that they what interest, they both came to my interview. They were both very involved in the process. And it just felt right. So I guess what I'm trying to say is they were very giving, and a part of that giving was allowing the students to be in the operating theatre with my surgical supervisor. And so so you got to connect with the actual project, what it looked like, what it was, what the complications were. And so depending on what point of the year it was, it looked different. So we would scrub into surgery as much as sort of we wanted. But we also had to manage the coursework and also conduct phone interviews. So pretty much the first few months were managing the coursework of Uni Melb and then recruiting prospective candidates for our study. So that was calling a list of 100 parents who had sick children that had surgery at the Royal Children's Hospital. And basically we were assessing their psychosocial well-being. So their depression, their anxiety, the way they manage their family adaptation after the illness. And so the interviews that we conducted were quite confronting, to be honest. Like the whole, I must say, the whole project was very, very enriching. And I mentioned just, briefly before I chose a hospital landscape because I really wanted that backstage entrance into that hospital, that insight. It really, truly was.
Wow.
It really, truly was. So, we got the access into the operating theatre. We got access to clinic as well. So to see how their recovery was going, the parents got to, what a privilege it was for the parents to give us their time, much like the students with Jen, to really understand what their day-to-day looked like. Because if we don't understand the parents' psychosocial well-being, we then can't help the children who are chronically ill. So that was the genesis of that was basic. It sort of just depended on the month. But basically after we recruited, we phone called, the interview times would be about 45 minutes per patient family. And then you basically are in statistical analysis after they're all complete. And then from there you're observing the statistics. So and then of course the writing begins.
Right. Wow. So everything from being in an operating theatre, organising people to talk to, interviewing, gathering that data, putting it into statistical, magical things, and then writing a thesis about it.
And being realistic about what you can do and what you can't do. So if I had a lecture the day after, or if I had a lecture at 9 a.m. but there was this cool surgery, or my supervisor wanted to meet, like you had to be quite disciplined and pragmatic and realistic about what you could and couldn't do and how you were going to manage that. Also, how you're going to manage your outside life too, because you've got a life outside the hospital too.
This is it.
So that's why I referenced the moving parts before. You really gain all these invaluable skills that, you just could never, ever anticipate. There's that uncertainty is just...
They're everywhere, aren't they? Yeah. I think there's a couple of strong themes coming through that I'd like to dive into a little bit more. So, Freddie, we've been mentioned chemistry and about the chemistry with the supervisor. Sort of a quick fire. How did you know, chemistry was good? Did you sit there thinking, I think this person's my thing? Or did we use our gut, our second brain, and then be like, this feels good? Or was it just plain luck?
I think a little bit of the last one. A bit of plain luck. Coming into it, I guess the application process will be talked about in a few episodes' time. But I had emailed a lot of people, a lot of lab heads, potential supervisors, and I only received one interview, one opportunity. So I came in, I had a chat with him in the lab, and it was a very old, dingy lab. It's actually flooded that day I went in, around that time, so that month.
What were they experimenting on to make it flood?
A lot of rain in the weather. So that flooded the level above, and all the rain had gone under to our level.
I'll just assure our listeners that it's completely safe.
Yeah. I guess it was completely safe.
Did you come out of it unscathed?
There was plastic on all the walls because they all had construction going on, so there's maintenance everywhere. I had to step over things to get into rooms. From then on, I was like, okay, well, this is an option. If I'll see if I get anything else, but I didn't. But I knew that it was definitely an all right option. I didn't think the environment was probably the best in the uni could provide, but I knew that the supervisor was what convinced me to go ahead with it. He was very similar to myself. He'd done an honours year in that lab and had stayed there for the last however many years. And so he knew what I was going through. He knew what I would be like according to the way I spoke, I guess a little bit of the resume, the background, the subjects I did. And he knew, because of his past honours students, what I was looking for and what I was trying to take from this year forward into my career. So I think from that, he understood me very well. And so I guess I hadn't done a lot with him. I just done one interview and I was like, yep, okay, let's go ahead. And then starting from the first week, I knew that our connection was very, very good. We communicated very well. He was very close to me. So as officer was very, very close. I would see him every hour if I needed to, because he had that time. He was willing to give it to his students, myself and the other master student. So I think I was very lucky in that sense to have someone so open and so close to talk to. I know other students might have a couple co-supervisors or PhDs they can talk to, but their supervisor they'd see maybe once a week, once a month even, I've heard. So, those it's completely different experiences. Exactly. So I was very happy with that.
Excellent.
I'm glad Freddie said that about the rejection, because I got a lot of rejections too. And I think it's really important to articulate that, because it's no reflection on you whatsoever.
Definitely not.
It's based on the lab or the project and their funding and what's going on there too. So if you get rejected, please don't let that deflate you by any means. It's just not right. But I do suggest going to the open days, and I that's how I loved. I knew I loved the Murdoch Research Institute for Children, because I could feel the fantastic culture and the positivity was palpable. So, and that's how you meet, perspective.
Was that your kind of gut moment in terms of this is the place I want to be?
Oh, yeah, it was amazing. It was just amazing. And also, no one's mentioned, I got my own desk. Did you get your own desk with a computer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Never had that before.
That was the best
That was really cool.
There you have it. You get a desk.
You get a desk
What more
and a
do you need?
computer.
Beautiful. Jennifer, was that a gut decision for you, or was it?
I guess with Angelina, I've known her for quite a bit of time already prior to doing my honors project with her. A lot of my third year subjects were with her, and I was able to have quite a close interaction with her prior to my project. And that's when I knew she's a lovely person. She's just amazing. And when I sort of proposed my project to her, our interests aligned. I was very lucky and fortunate that I didn't have to go around and seek other projects.
That's awesome. That's three very different ways of getting into a project. But I'm sensing there was a feeling that it was a good fit in the end. Obviously, we're here, we're smiling. But that gut, so we had a gut reaction, this is where I want to be. We had someone you kind of knew, and we had luck as well. And I do want to reiterate that, Danielle and Freddie, that search for a supervisor, again, an upcoming episode, we'll dive into that deeper. But don't take those personally. It's very, very normal to get rejected a lot, and there's all these other layers, like coming back to that unsung admin stuff that goes on in projects. There's just so much, and funding is a big part of that. So thanks for highlighting that, and we'll dive into that in a later episode. Another thing I wanted to talk about is the theme coming through of navigating and sort of, in Freddie's case, stepping over things to get to a desk or, navigating a new situation where I'm in an operating theatre all of a sudden, or navigating, no one's done this research, what do I do? How did you approach? What was there like a key sort of thought in your mind about approaching this, oh my gosh, kind of moment? I'm assuming there might have been an moment there, maybe putting words in your mouth, but how did you navigate that kind of?
I remember calling a previous honours student within the team who's now studying at UCID medicine, and I just used to ask her, why am I doing this? I don't know what I'm doing. Like, what is this going to get easier? Is this going to get better? So at the start, I don't know, did you guys feel the same way a little bit, or no? Okay.
I think you're just shy.
I definitely did.
Oh, you don't? Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely did.
Like you have to keep yourself in check mentally, because you've got all this time. You're not required to be at lectures as much as you do in your undergrad. And I did biomedical science, sort of like Freddie. And It's so fast paced. The contact hours are long. The lab hours are long. You know, you're in this certain cohort and it's all very rigid. Whereas now in the honours year, you've suddenly got all this flexibility. And so if you want to hang out at the cafeteria and pay an astronomical amount for a smoothie, you can, and just sip on it really slowly. Like you can. No one's holding you accountable. No one is chasing you. So yeah, I found it really tough to begin with, and
was there like like reaching out, obviously asking lots of questions, really positive. Any kind of, do you have like a go-to phrase or anything in your head? Anyone? Like oh, come on, we can do this,
Well, Freddie's was, it can only get better from here.
I guess,
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it just, I guess, be that bitch.
Yeah.
Buy your list.
We can pick that out right now. Push through, right?
Push through.
Yeah.
Others have done it. Sometimes you're just, it's all just in your head. Obviously, I don't want to, I guess, being dismissive of people's experience, but a lot of times with honors, you are sort of just against yourself, and you need to be the boss of yourself and sort of being like, okay, now is not the time to, think about all these other possibilities of, your research might not go as planned, blah, blah, blah. You just have to do it and see how it goes and sort out plan B as you go.
Growth mindset, eh?
Growth mindset.
Do it. See how it goes. Would you agree, Freddie?
Actually, yeah. Thinking back on it, I think at the start I was always like, just go with the flow kind of thing. I wasn't like pushing myself too much, being like, I need to spend every hour doing something more that can add to my project. But then I realized later down when I had to start writing, and that was really the key focus, which I hadn't really been doing throughout the year. So it was like kind of a new experience, and it was very late down the track. And you just had to lock in and just actually start writing. So I think it went from a go with the flow, learn as much as I can to oh man, I need to do this or else I will not do it by the deadline. Like there was a set deadline at the end, but throughout the year there was no big deadline. It was months away, which I hadn't really thought about.
Conceptually
in my
quite different.
Yeah, exactly.
Quick fire question then. Overall, a lot of growth, a lot of learning.
Yes.
Yeah. Happy we did it?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Excellent. All right, now it is time for our mailbag section of the show. This is a recurring thing that we do. Our wonderful listeners have sent us in some questions. So, in this lovely bag here, we've got a question.
Should we be worried or?
Absolutely not. It's absolutely fine. All right, what have we got? This one comes from Liang out in Melbourne East. Rip it open, it's been officially sealed.
Oh.
Okay. All right, so we'll go around. Well, I think we'll start with Freddie and work around. So no thinking, just talking. About 20 to 30 seconds. What comes to mind? We've touched on it a little bit, but Liang asks, as I'll be transitioning from a coursework-based study to a research-focused honours year, how could you best advise or how could you advise how to best structure and manage a flexible study schedule? 20 to 30 seconds. Freddie, could you advise on how to best structure and manage a flexible study schedule? Time starts now.
Right. Yes. I guess coming from the same position, I went from coursework to research as well. I think the best thing is to communicate with your supervisor to let them know when you have lectures. Even have a shared calendar of some sort. Tell them I've got lectures here, here, here. I can talk with you or do training with you here, here, here.
Beautiful.
And work together to find when you have time for these lectures and classes, when you have time for your own work to do that coursework and your supervisors, and then also any additional reading and writing you got to do outside of that. So there's all these components you got to communicate with your supervisor.
Excellent. Thank you. Time's up. Jennifer, let's go.
I also agree with Freddie. Communication is key. Setting up the expectations earlier on with your supervisors to make sure, when you want to hit the deadlines, what sort of tasks do you have to do. It's all about working with the other person, and it's all about collaboration, communication.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Checklists.
Checklists.
Yep, a diary, and just literally check them off and look at your progress at the end of the day and just see all the things that you've ticked off.
Yeah.
It's rewarding.
That's beautiful. Excellent. Thank you very much for all that. Really appreciate all your views today. So hopefully everyone now has a better idea of what honours is all about. Thank you for these wonderful things that you've exposed, not exposed, demystified for us here today. I'm really hearing that theme of it's totally different. It may feel like a bit of a shock at the start, but with communication, one of my favorite mantras is don't stress, communicate. Like if you're starting to feel a bit stressed, start talking about it.
Love
because everyone's in the same boat and supervisors are used to that. That's what they're there for. So there's that. You're going to be doing some very, very different things. You might end up in operating theatres. You might be, in some crazy buildings doing stuff and then moving around campus.
Can I also just add one thing? It's just don't be so harsh on yourself. Everyone's, going into this year not knowing what to do. And, you only have 1 year, just get your project done. Even, even if you hold a really high standard for yourself, just get it done.
Get it done. Lean into it. Lean into it. I mean, with great things come from great effort, I think. I think someone wise said that. We hope so. If not, it was me. Thanks for joining us today. Next time, we'll talk about the application process and dive deeper into the hunt for a supervisor and how to actually find the right one. Thank you very much, Freddie, Jennifer, and Danielle, and see you all next time.